Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Classified Captures. Steve here, and today we've got a wild lineup of clips ranging from a capture of Azrael, the Angel of Death, to never-before-seen footage of cryptids that will blow your mind. Ready? Well, let's dive right in. Are you confused? Good, you aren't the only one. When this showed up in our feed, we weren't exactly sure what we were dealing with, but none of us could deny the fact that this was intriguing. Usually, Julius wouldn't bother himself with these kinds of things, but this time, he took an interest. He thought that if it was real, it could be a grasshopper that looks like that, probably because it's been suctioned. Aaron, on the other hand, thinks this might be extraterrestrial, or something paranormal, if terrestrial. Personally, I have mixed feelings about it, but what do you guys think? While you share your thoughts on that, take a look at this one too. You see the white being walking around in the distance, right? Would you believe me if I told you that this was supposed to have been recorded on a property that was meant to have one new occupant? Somehow, when the individual reviewed the clip from his camera, he saw this person or being pacing around. The funny thing is, not only does he live alone, but he has no neighbors. His property is in a secluded area in the mountains, which got him wondering, who or what was this being? Why was it there, and why did it wait to show up only after he had officially moved in? As important as these questions are, he hasn't received official responses yet, and he's been unable to catch the lady as well. Everyone who heard his story or seen clips from the location believes he's dealing with a ghost. He's repeatedly stated he doesn't believe in such things, but what do you also think? Growing up, attics, basements, and backyards were places I avoided. Not that I had caught a ghost in any of these places, but they just made me uncomfortable. Can't, however, be compared to the case of this young girl who noticed a crack in the ground of her mom's backyard. She goes to investigate, and she notices that there's actually a sealed-off room beneath the ground. Naturally, she was puzzled and had questions. With no one near her to help, she recorded the whole thing and placed it on one of the paranormal platforms, hoping someone could help out. Many who saw this were left disturbed. Some thought it was an ongoing crime scene, whereas others thought it might have been used to commit some atrocious crimes in the past. Whatever the situation, we can only speculate as no one has the actual facts. What would you have done in her situation, though? A Reddit user recently shared some chilling footage from their Ring camera. It was late at night when the camera alerted them to movement, so they checked the monitor, and what they saw was beyond unsettling. Standing at their door was a 7-foot-tall, smoky figure shaped like a human. It lingered there for moving or just a few seconds before slowly rotating and vanishing without a trace. The homeowners were shocked and terrified when they reviewed the footage. Many have speculated about what it could be: an extraterrestrial being, a ghost, or perhaps some other mysterious entity. You've seen the clip. What do you think of it?
Near the trees right here. You can see him move in a few seconds. There he goes. As you can see, this Sasquatch was captured on film.
This footage comes straight from Alberta, Canada. The man who captured it initially thought he was seeing a bear standing upright between the trees, so he quickly pulled out his camera to film. But as he continued recording, it became clear this was not a bear at all. The figure stood about 8 feet tall, with a broad, muscular frame and an unusual head shape that didn't resemble any bear. It seemed to be swaying side to side, almost as if trying to get a better look at him from behind the tree, yet it never fully revealed itself. The cautious movement in its upright posture made the man realize he may have captured something far more mysterious. Perhaps even the legendary Bigfoot. Julius doesn't believe the man's story, though, and thinks it's a bad edit. But then again, that's just Julius being Julius. What do you think, though? Could this be the elusive creature, really, that's Bigfoot, lurking in the Alberta wilderness?
As you can see here shortly, he'll start to do the famous sway that they've been known to do.
就拍到一个不知道是什么东西，你来看。
In this intriguing footage from China, a woman captures a mysterious object floating in the sky. The object is rectangular, though it appears almost transparent, blending into the sky as if camouflaged. Faint lines of light seem to run along its edges, creating a glowing outline that's just enough to catch the eye, but still leaves the object partially hidden. The sighting raises some interesting questions. Could this be a cloaked UFO, subtly revealing itself with these lines of light? Or is it some kind of advanced aerial technology, reflecting light in a way that makes it nearly invisible? What do you think this strange object could be?
就拍到一个不知道是什么东西，你来看。
In this unsettling footage from a home surveillance camera, we see a figure emerge from the darkness of the forest into the front yard. This person appears disoriented, lingering near the edge of the trees. For a while, he remains just outside the house, and then he begins mumbling to himself, his voice low and incoherent. At one point, you can hear him start to cry and make strange noises, almost as if he's experiencing something deeply disturbing. He then crouches to the ground, letting out strange grunting sounds. The footage continues, but we'll stop it here. When the family reviewed this clip, they were understandably shaken. They had no idea who this man could be or what he might have been doing near their home. Some viewers have speculated that he could be possessed, while others believe he might be suffering from a mental health crisis. What do you think? Is this a case of possession, or is it something else entirely? In this unusual footage captured by a home security camera, a small humanoid figure appears in the backyard in the middle of the night. The creature seems to emerge from near the house and walks across the yard before disappearing from view. Its small stature and humanoid shape have led the homeowner to suspect that it might be a duende. The concept of duendes is popular in Latin American and Iberian folklore, where they're believed to be elusive, tricky beings that sometimes make their presence known to humans. Typically depicted as small, with childlike or exaggerated features, these entities are said to inhabit rural areas, hidden spaces, or in some stories, even within homes. Could this footage really be a duende, or might there be a more rational explanation for the small figure caught on tape? This next footage doesn't have a specific location, but it allegedly came from a trail camera set up in a dense forest. Judging by the setup, it looks like a hunter had placed the camera hoping to spot some game. Instead, what the camera captured is truly bizarre. A massive, white-furred creature walked by on two legs. It was almost hidden in the thick fog, but the distinctive white fur stood out enough to be seen. Many viewers are saying this could be a Yeti, similar to Bigfoots. Yetis are known for their white fur and are typically associated with the mountains of Asia. What do you think, though? Could this really be a Yeti? In this eerie clip, a girl was filming a casual video in the city when a friend holding the camera. She walked into the camera's view, chatting and posing, not noticing anything unusual around her. But as the footage plays back, something strange is visible in the background. Behind her, two other girls suddenly appear out of nowhere, already mid-stride as they walk away. No one in the area seemed to notice them, not even the girl filming, until she reviewed the footage later. Could this be a case of time travel, a glitch in reality, or perhaps even a crossing between parallel universes?
Making hard-boiled eggs, and I don't know if the phone will pick up that, but does it sound like it's chirping?
We all enjoy eating eggs, whether they're cooked, fried, or however you prefer. We know eggs come from birds, and typically we collect them before they've had a chance to incubate and turn into chicks. Well, a woman bought some eggs, placed them in a pot of water, and started to boil them. As the water heated up, she noticed something unusual. There were faint chirping sounds coming from the pan, and one of the eggs seemed to vibrate whenever the chirping happened. The footage ends there, so we don't know what happened next, but it seems like one of those eggs might have already been incubating or partially developed. If that's the case, then the bird in it was definitely trying to escape the heat. That's not a thought I'd like to dwell on. Anyway, have you ever experienced anything like this?
Making hard-boiled eggs, and I don't know if the phone will pick up that, but does it sound like it's chirping?
One night, while working a late shift, this man found himself alone in the middle of the woods. As he went about his tasks, he suddenly started hearing loud moans coming from somewhere in the darkness around him. The eerie sounds echoed through the trees. According to the man, a colleague of his had passed away not too long before. With no other explanation for the strange noises and feeling unsettled by the surroundings, he began to believe that the moans were of his late colleague, somehow calling out to him from beyond. Could this be a spirit reaching out, or perhaps just the sounds of the forest playing tricks on him? In this next video, a man decided to take a quick recording of himself during the day. He set his phone beside him on the bed, filming without much thought, capturing what seemed to be a simple, peaceful moment. But as he later watched the footage, he noticed something chilling. There, above him, was a face staring directly down almost inches from his own. The man insists that he was entirely alone at the time. He didn't see or feel anything unusual while filming and was looking right at the space where the face appeared. So what or who is this face?
I wasn't even gonna record this video, but I honestly can't even comprehend what I saw last night. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. I was sleeping, dead asleep last night above my cab. All of a sudden, I heard something rummaging through my cab. Like, ran. It was on 2 legs, so it definitely wasn't a bear.
This woman went camping in the woods with her camper van, and on the first night, she saw something unsettling outside. There was a creature rummaging through the bin she had left out. It was walking on 2 legs, something that seemed eerily human-like. She thought it could be some animal, but the way it moved left her curious and a little unnerved. Determined to capture whatever it was, she set up a camera to film through the night. Hours passed until, late into the night, she finally caught something on film. There, a dark figure, barely visible, moving behind a tree. The camera quality wasn't great, but there was clearly something large shifting through the trees. So what do you think this could be? A Bigfoot, some animal, or maybe something entirely unexpected? Right now across the United States, a massive and underreported wave of wildfires is spreading, displacing millions and devastating vast areas. The East Coast, which isn't typically known for fires of this scale, is now showing multiple active fire alerts across many states. When you check fire maps, you'll see fires scattered throughout the region. Then, looking at the West Coast, there are significant fires as well, though this area is more accustomed to wildfire seasons. But the situation becomes even more alarming as you go up to the Pacific Northwest. Fires have spread across the region, and it doesn't stop there. The problem extends into Canada. In British Columbia and Alberta, wildfires are burning millions of acres, scorching thousands of acres of land at a time. This wildfire crisis is severe, affecting countless people, ecosystems, and homes, yet it seems to be getting a little attention. Could it be that there's so much else happening right now that these fires aren't making headlines, or is there a little more sinister reason for the silence? A man decided to set up an SLS, structured light sensor camera, in his home after experiencing a series of strange activities in his home. Take a look at what he caught on camera. In the footage, there are green stick figure-like shapes moving around the room. The figures resemble human forms mapped out by the camera's sensors. These figures are seen moving around and even appear to be throwing things. But here's where things get really strange. At one point, 2 of the figures vanished, leaving just one that continued to walk around the table. A lot of people believe SLS cameras can capture spirits, yet we tend to think of ghosts as entities that can pass through solid objects. So could this be genuine, or is there more to the story? What do you think?
Okay, this is crazy, look. Right? Bro.
A woman was out filming when she stumbled upon an area blanketed in dried leaves. However, one particular leaf caught her eye. It was just hanging there, suspended in mid-air with no branch or string to hold it up. She reached out, grabbed it, and tossed it toward the ground, but instead of falling, the leaf defied gravity and floated right back up, lingering in the air as if bound by some invisible force. What could explain this strange phenomenon? Is it just an unusual trick of nature, or could there be something more mysterious at play?
Okay, this is crazy, look. Right? Bro.
A woman driving on a South Carolina highway caught some strange lights moving in the clouds above. Oddly enough, another person recorded the same lights at LaGrange, Georgia, showing these mysterious orbs dancing through the sky. Many believe it could be a UFO, while others have a different theory. One commenter mentioned it might just be a spotlight, similar to the ones used nightly in Niagara Falls, Canada, which cast beams spinning around the sky. So what do you think? Are we looking at an extraterrestrial visitor, or just some impressive stage lighting? Vampire legends have captivated people for centuries, often seen as tales of folklore or bedtime stories. Yet vampire hunts and fears of these creatures once felt real enough to lead to strange burial practices meant to trap these supposed vampires in their graves. In 2022, archaeologists in Poland discovered a fascinating example, the remains of what was believed to be a vampire in a cemetery. This burial was estimated to be around 400 years old, and it included some unusual measures to prevent the deceased from rising. The skeleton had a padlock around its foot and a sharp sickle laid across its neck, symbols that were meant to keep the spirit bound to its grave. Using forensic testing and 3D reconstruction, experts pieced together the face and identity of this mysterious individual, who they named Zozia. But was Zozia truly a vampire, or simply a misunderstood figure caught in the crosshairs of myth and superstition? What do you think? Imagine waking up at dawn, just about to leave for work, only to find a lion staring you down at the bottom of the stairs. Well, that's exactly what happened to this man in his apartment complex. He opened his door, ready for the day, and there it was, a full-grown lion looking straight up at him. Without panicking, he calmly retreated into his room, probably already planning to take a day off. Honestly, who could blame him? And the bigger mystery is, how did a lion even end up inside the building? With everyone still asleep, the whole situation feels surreal. Forget ghosts. This real-life encounter is terrifying in a whole different way. This man heads out early one morning to take out the trash, only to find his garbage floating in the air. He's baffled. To check if he's seeing things, he sticks his leg underneath, and there is nothing. No wires, no stands, and no logical explanation in sight, just his trash can seemingly levitating in front of him like it's decided to perform a little magic trick overnight. What is going on here? Is it a prank? Some clever optical illusion? Or could it be a glitch in reality itself? Aaron shared this video with me a few weeks ago. It was posted by a resident who lives near a hospital, and the footage was captured by a surveillance camera set outside the hospital facing the entrance. One night, something unexpected happened at the site of the hospital. A small light flashed and suddenly a bright figure appeared, landing on the ground before quickly flying off. When the footage was slowed down, the figure looked humanoid with glowing wings and what seemed to be a bright white robe. Some viewers are convinced it's an angel, possibly coming to guide us all to the afterlife. But honestly, I think it could be a hoax. What do you all think?
Se escucha adentro, ¿no? Piensa la verga.
These men were working at a storage facility. The place looks like an apartment complex, but it's meant strictly for storing belongings, not for anyone to live in. One day, as they started their shift, they heard something chilling. It was the loud voice of a child talking and even screaming, not in a frightening way, but just the way kids can sometimes be really loud. Kids aren't allowed there, and no one is supposed to be living in these units. The men were too spooked to investigate further, wondering if it could be a ghostly child. So what do you think? Could there be someone secretly living there, or is this an eerie encounter with something supernatural?
Se escucha adentro, ¿no? Piensa la verga.
This next piece of footage is truly disturbing, and parts of it were even censored due to how graphic it is.
Oh God! No! Oh my God! No! Oh!
A police officer was on patrol late one night when he encountered a woman standing in the middle of the road. Her back was turned to him, and she was wearing a short white robe. But when she turned around, it became much more chilling. She was holding a knife and, to the officer's shock, was repeatedly stabbing herself as she slowly walked toward him. Visibly unsettled, the officer backed up to his car, and you can even see a trail of what looks like blood on the ground. Some people think the footage might be a hoax, but the unsettling nature of it remains the same. What would you have done in a situation like this? Would you try to help or keep your distance?
Oh God! No! Oh my God! No! Oh!
A woman was on her way home when this caught her eye on the ground. It was a small, white, round object with a rough, uneven texture and a faint, eerie glow around it. The object didn't look like any rock or regular mushroom she'd ever seen, so she was left wondering what exactly it was. Was it some rare type of fungus, or maybe something entirely different, like a mysterious mineral or otherworldly substance? What do you think she stumbled upon? A security camera outside a building captured a bizarre sight one evening. A green mist appeared, hovering right in front of the camera. The people monitoring the footage inside were perplexed, thinking maybe it was a fog or smoke, so they called security to investigate. When they went outside, however, there was nothing unusual, no mist, no fog. It seemed like this green haze was only visible through the camera lens. So what could be causing this? Could it be a paranormal phenomenon, perhaps a spirit or energy only detectable on camera? Or is it a glitch in the camera itself, creating an illusion of something ghostly? I'm not sure where this footage was taken, but it was filmed late at night. The entire sky glowed a deep red with a faint arc stretching across it, almost like a rainbow, but with the colors obscured by the red hue of the sky. Several explanations come to mind in this scene. This could be a red rainbow, which sometimes occurs when the sun is low, causing red wavelengths to dominate as blue and violet are scattered. Another possibility could be a peculiar type of aurora, or, in some cases, light pollution from nearby sources casting a red tint across the sky. It's hard to say for sure what we're dealing with, but what are your thoughts?
I thought the crock pot was leaking.
A woman had bought a watermelon and left it on her kitchen counter for a few days, planning to enjoy it later. But when she finally went into the kitchen to cook, she was shocked by what she found. The watermelon was gushing water on its own right from the inside. Many people have noticed unusual changes in food recently, and this incident adds to the list. Watermelons can sometimes ferment if left at room temperature too long, especially if the fruit has even a slight crack in the rind. Fermentation causes gas to build up inside, creating pressure that can force liquid to leak out. But it's not only fermentation. Some have suggested that certain fertilizers or preservatives may play a role in unexpected reactions like this. Could this be just fermented watermelon, or is it another example of strange changes happening in our food supply?
I thought the crock pot was leaking.
A new worker at the fish counter spotted something shocking, a large black centipede-like creature crawling across the fish. It had long, segmented legs and a body that looked intimidating, especially as it moved with surprising speed. This creature is known as a hellgrammite, the larval stage of the Dobson fly. Hellgrammites are actually aquatic larvae often found in streams and rivers, and they can appear on fish due to their habitat overlap. They're known for their pincers, which can give a painful pinch if handled roughly. Good thing he took a step away from it, or at least we hope he did.
What? What was that?
In this next footage from Germany, a man ventured into the woods and began filming when he noticed something large and crouching in the bushes nearby. At first, he thought it might be a big dog or a wolf, so he moved a little closer to get a better look. But as he got nearer, he saw enough to make him turn and run out there immediately. According to the man, he believes he saw a dogman, a legendary creature often described as a werewolf-like beast with both canine and human features. The footage he captured is quite shaky, making it difficult to make out the creature clearly. But there's definitely a dark, fur-covered figure partially visible in the underbrush. What do you think, though? Could this be evidence of a dogman, or is there a more grounded explanation?
What? What was that? Oh!
Miren, miren cómo va pasando.
¡A la verga! No mames, pasó, Javier.
A ver, mándalo. La sombra.
Sí, pasó. Ahora se puso de este lado y le atravesó todo el teléfono. No mames.
A family visited the altar of a deceased relative during a funeral, and one of them was filming when something unusual occurred. A dark shadow moved across the camera lens right in front of the altar, moving from left to right. They all saw it happen. Then a moment later it happened again, the shadow passing from right to left once more. The family believes this shadow might be the spirit of their loved one, making a final visit to say goodbye before leaving the earthly realm for good. What do you think? Have you ever experienced anything similar?
Miren, miren cómo va pasando.
¡A la verga! No mames, pasó, Javier.
A ver, mándala. La sombra.
Sí, apareció. Ahora se puso de este lado y le atravesó todo el teléfono. No mames.
Hoy sí alcancé a ver algo. Unos.
A man living in an apartment complex was coming home one night and parked his car when he noticed a figure sitting on the stairs. Not usually a believer in the paranormal, he assumed it could just be a person. Still holding his camera, he got out of the car and started walking toward the stairs. But when he saw the figure again, it was seated, very stiff and completely motionless, creating an eerie atmosphere. Seeing it the second time gave him a real scare, and he quickly turned back to his car. What do you think this figure could be?
Hoy sí alcancé a ver algo. Unos.
In England, there's an old abandoned jail known as Bodmin Jail located in Cornwall. Once infamous for its brutal executions and harsh treatment of prisoners, the place is believed to be haunted. People from around the world visit to explore its dark past, and many have captured strange, chilling activity on camera. One night, a security guard captured a ghostly figure drifting through the corridors. It has a pale head floating atop a dark, robed body. Other visitors have caught eerie scenes from jail doors opening and closing on their own, as well as mysterious orbs moving throughout the place. In one particularly unsettling encounter, a couple took a selfie only to see a ghostly figure peering directly into the camera from behind them. The atmosphere at Bodmin Jail is undeniably eerie. Would you be brave enough to visit?
Still on mysterious creatures, take a look at this Trailcam footage. What did you notice? It appears that a creature made of light passed by the camera, doesn't it? Numerous viewers were convinced that it captured an angel delivering a message caught unaware by the camera. I loved that explanation too, until I reviewed the footage again for the 1000th time. That's when something caught my attention. The pattern and movement of the rays of light were not very odd. The rays of light appeared to sway back and forth as if caught in the wind. It was then that it hit me. What if the camera had actually captured cobwebs and they looked like they did because of how close they were to the camera and how much light was hitting them? At that moment, it all made sense. That's exactly what was happening. But I couldn't believe it. I'd become like one of those science people. It feels like I betrayed the paranormal community. But what do you think? While we have encountered many creepy and scary stories, it's often the eerie presence of people that can be even more unsettling. You know they're human, but you can't tell if they have good intentions or not. This footage was taken by a man on his property. For about 3 days, he'd been seeing strange people wandering in the woodlands on his property. Their collective movement hinted at a singular destination, but its exact whereabouts remained a mystery to him. Unaware of his presence, they maintained a silent vigil, stealthily lurking throughout the area. They seemed to all be going to one location, but where he couldn't tell. Confused? Have a look. You see them, don't you? Very creepy, isn't it? Footage like this leaves us with many questions. Who are they? Why are they doing that? Is it some kind of ritual? Are they an occult? Is anyone in that area truly safe? I hope I'm not the only one creeped out by this. Have you encountered such before? What do you think of the whole thing? Tell us in the comments section. Confusing and creepy trail cam capture. In the image, we see a creature with the head of a pig and a torso resembling that of a well-built gym instructor. That's right, folks, a bizarre hybrid of a human and a pig. It's an unprecedented sight that defies all expectations. This piggy will finish the big bad wolf with just one punch. However, upon closer inspection, there's a twist in this mysterious image. But as you take a closer look, you'll notice something unexpected. This creature is wearing a white wife-beater. Wait, does that mean what we think it means? Could it simply be a person wearing an incredibly realistic costume? If that's the situation, then, phew, what a relief, because I guarantee you no one would like to have an encounter with this creature on the farm, woods, or anywhere else for that matter. But what do you think? Deep within an unknown forest lies a mysterious tree, known for its unique ability to devour anything that dares to cross its path. A rusted bicycle has been suspended from the tree trunk, defying gravity for over a century. It's believed that the bike once belonged to a young boy who left it on the tree limb and never came back. What's more, the tree has grown around the bike, encasing it in its woody embrace, as if trying to protect its precious treasure. The sight of the old bike rusted and twisted in the tree's clutches is nothing short of extraordinary. Tourists and bike enthusiasts flock to this secret spot, eager to witness this unusual spectacle with their own eyes. As they stand there gazing up at the tree, they can't help but wonder about the story behind the bike and the boy who once rode it. Some even claim to have felt a mysterious presence lurking in the forest, as if the boy's spirit still roams the woods in search of his lost treasure. What would you do if you heard a strange noise while exploring the wild? If you answered anything other than ran away, perhaps you ought to see a shrink. There's definitely no way that's safe enough for you to investigate. The owner of this footage, however, thinks otherwise. Upon hearing a mysterious noise emanating from beneath a cluster of rocks, he ventured closer to investigate. Recording, we see a glimpse of what he sees. The problem now is we're not sure what he's seeing. Could it be an alien? Could it be an extraterrestrial entity? Or perhaps it's a known land animal that eludes recognition due to the video quality? Well, we can't state with confidence what it is, but we're glad he didn't at least try to rescue it. Who knows what he could have unleashed on our already broken world? Still on ancient creatures, we have another footage that's sure to blow you away. Have you ever heard of the alligator snapping turtle? Well, if you haven't, today's your lucky day. You get to not only see one of these magnificent creatures, but actually see someone holding one in his hands. Before you tell yourself that's no feat, know that these prehistoric-looking creatures are known for their impressive size, with males typically reaching lengths of 13 to 20 inches and sometimes even larger. Aside from its length, they can weigh anywhere from 150 to 250 pounds or even more, making them one of the heaviest freshwater turtle species. If that does not impress you, know that these animals are known to have quite a powerful bite. Knowing this, it's shocking to see someone actually carrying and manhandling one. Whatever you do, please don't do what this man is doing in the footage, even if it looks very cool and, quite frankly, very manly. In a rather unsettling discovery, a doll was stumbled upon in the depths of a river. But this wasn't just any doll. It bore an uncanny resemblance to a human. The doll's features are chillingly realistic. Its skin is eerily pale, swathed in a dark shroud. Its eyes, wide open, seem to pierce through the observer, while blood-red lips hint at something far more sinister. The image is further intensified by what appears to be blood oozing from the corner of its mouth. While most would initially mistake this for a real-life horror scene, it's indeed just a doll, albeit one that raises a myriad of questions. How did it end up in the river? Who created it, and for what purpose? The answers remain elusive, shrouding this eerie discovery in an air of mystery. What's your take on this enigmatic doll? A couple going about their normal everyday business came across a limb that was well preserved but didn't seem to belong to any animal species they knew. They could have easily ignored and continued with their day, but a part of them wondered, what if they had finally come across something significant? They took the limb and took pictures. The lady then realized they could actually have been handling a well-preserved foot of the legendary Bigfoot. On second thought, it didn't look big enough to be Bigfoot. They sent the image around and were told that they could actually be handling either the hand, see what I did there, of a juvenile Bigfoot or its foot. If only there was a way to cross-check its DNA with the DNA of other Bigfoot. But there is. Dr. Melba Ketchum and her team claim to have conducted DNA sequencing on various biological samples, including hair and tissue purportedly obtained from unidentified hominin species commonly known as Bigfoot. Perhaps they should send the sample to them. Maybe we may be able to get to the bottom of this once and for all. Have you ever witnessed a battle for survival in the animal kingdom? The surprising twist captured on this Trailcam footage is not one to miss. A group of raccoons were trying to drink when they noticed a strange presence lurking in the bushes. It turned out to be a sneaky snake on the prowl, but the raccoons were not going to be an easy target. With their sharp claws and impressive strength, they quickly turned the tables on the predator. Using their powerful teeth, they made short work of the snake and enjoyed a well-deserved meal. Who knew raccoons could be so resourceful and fierce in the face of danger? Did that scare you? Well, if it did, I won't be surprised. The creature looks like something straight out of a nightmare, and it has limbs that don't quite make sense. The video is blurry, hence we can't say much, but it might have scales for skin and generally have a fish-like appearance. These guesses are based on the description of the uploader, who called the creature a toil. For those unfamiliar with it, it's a supernatural creature or spirit found in the Southeast Asian folklore, particularly in Malay, Indonesian, and Thai cultures. It's often described as a mischievous and malevolent creature that's associated with black magic and the occult. It's commonly depicted as a grotesque or deformed fetus-like creature. It's typically very small in size, resembling an infant or a small child. Here's the twist. It's believed to have the power to bring wealth and good fortune to its owner if treated well, but it can also bring misfortune if mistreated. Most often, however, it carries out the wishes of a master, which leaves us wondering, did someone intentionally send the creature after the family? If they did, why? Why would you do such a thing? Think that was bizarre? Take a look at this next footage. In the footage, we see a young biker riding through what looks like the countryside, but if you look closely at the footage, something eerie unfolds in the background. A tall, slender figure moving through the grass. If you pay attention to the height of the creature in relation to the rest of the environment, then you can tell that the creature is very, very tall, maybe 8 feet or more. But what creature is it? As the footage circulated, it sent chills down the spines of those who believed they had spotted the infamous Slender Man. This footage was captured somewhere in the UK, and the uploader had set up cams to film himself on his new bike. What he didn't expect to see is the creature you can see in the background. He explained that a passing driver had alerted him to the presence of a strange humanoid creature in the area. At first, he dismissed it as something unbelievable. However, his skepticism would soon give way to something else as he reviewed the footage during the editing process. Looking at the footage, I'm really glad that he was really that far from the creature. Who knows what could have happened to him if he met the creature face to face. Have you ever witnessed the raw brutality of the natural world? One moment, a white chicken is enjoying a leisurely stroll, and the next, a red-tailed hawk descends from the sky with deadly precision, snatching the helpless bird with its sharp talons. The attack is savage and over in an instant, leaving behind a scattering of feathers as a grim reminder of the harsh reality of nature. This brutal encounter serves as a stark reminder that life in the wild is a constant battle between predators and prey, where the strong survive and the weak become prey. Earlier in today's video, we saw the security cam footage of what we initially believed to be ghosts before the science folk busted our bubble. Well, there's this one too. The owner of this Trailcam had set it up to record videos of local wildlife for his personal use. He started to review the footage and came across this. It left him perplexed and a little bit scared. However, when he shared this online in an attempt to alleviate his fears, it only made things worse. Everyone who saw the image became convinced that the location where he set up his trail camera was haunted, and it would be best for him to never return there. But what if the ghosts followed him home? Perhaps he disturbed its place of abode and unintentionally revealed it to the rest. Some state that there's no way it's an apparition or ghost and that it definitely has to be a camera error. Some also think it's just bad Photoshop. A family was parked by the roadside when they spotted a moose feeding on the other side of the road in front of the forest, so they decided to film. While mesmerized by the moose's feeding, their attention was abruptly drawn to another presence, a ghostly pale creature lurking in the shadows behind the moose. The creature appeared to be standing on 2 feet and later moved to a crouch. The creature's appearance, with its pale complexion and slender physique, defied wild animal characteristics, bearing a striking resemblance to a skinwalker. Known for hunting both humans and animals, the mystic creature was likely biding its time, waiting for the perfect opportunity to pounce on the delectable moose. But what do you think? We step away from the supernatural and enjoy some cuteness. Take a look at this footage captured by a trail cam set up in the wild. We see a mother bear and her cubs marching in the woods to either seek shelter for the night or get themselves some dinner. Mother bears are extremely protective of their cubs. Despite their adorable appearance, it's crucial to remember that encountering a mother bear and her cubs can be extremely dangerous. Thanks to trail cams, however, you can enjoy such encounters without having to be close to them. Have you ever witnessed a dozen bears feasting on apples in your backyard? That's exactly what happened to an apple farmer in North Georgia. For years, the farmer had been disposing of his old, imperfect apples in a designated spot, attracting a variety of small critters. But one day, his trail cam captured a stunning sight: 12 bears indulging in a fruit frenzy. The sight was truly remarkable, as these omnivorous bears were in apple heaven, consuming their favorite snack with unbridled enthusiasm. As the trail cam footage reveals, the bears devoured the apples with gusto, climbing on top of the pile and squabbling over the juiciest specimens. Their black fur contrasting against the bright red apples make for a surreal and captivating image. It's hard to imagine the sheer force and size of these wild animals all gathered together for a feast in the farmer's backyard. Who knows what other creatures have been enjoying this apple buffet without being caught on camera? And as for the 12 bears, will they continue to return to this bountiful spot? Only time will tell. But one thing is for certain, this farmer will never forget the day he stumbled upon a bear picnic in his own backyard. How would you react when you were taking a walk through the forest and come across a big and hairy creature which appears to be walking on its 2 feet like a human does? If you mention running away, you're speaking my language. In contrast, the owner of this footage takes a different approach. He carefully takes out his camera and films. Although the video is blurry and of poor quality, we can still discern the presence of something out there. What is it, though? Some viewers who have seen the footage speculate that it might be Bigfoot. I'm also inclined to think the same, but I'm curious to hear your opinions as well. What do you think it is? Next, we travel to the mysterious landscapes of White Mesa, where a thrilling discovery was made. While hiking amidst the majestic peaks, an observant hiker stumbled upon a set of tracks that sent chills down his spine. These tracks, measuring a staggering 20 inches, left an indelible impression on the hiker's mind. But it wasn't just their size that caught the hiker's attention. It was the distinct shape that added an extra layer of intrigue. Although the tracks bore a resemblance to a human foot, a subtle uniqueness set them apart. They were abnormally large, surpassing the size of any known human. Even the tallest and largest man on Earth couldn't boast such colossal feat. In that moment, the conclusion was undeniable. They had just discovered the footprints of Bigfoot. Anyone who laid eyes on these footprints couldn't help but make the connection to the legendary Bigfoot, a mythical being frequently sighted in these very mountains. If you ask me, I'd say the image was legit, but what do you think? It's NBA Wildlife Edition. Looks like LeBron James is a challenger. These deer were captured on a trail cam set up in the woods. One seems to have a basketball stuck in its antlers. While it may look adorable, we can only imagine the impact on its neck. If you live near wildlife, try to be a little more responsible with your items, not just for your sake, but for theirs as well. Are you a fan of hiking? Well, here's a story that will give you chills. A group of adventurers were on a beautiful hiking trip when they came face to face with a creature that left them absolutely terrified. The creature moved like a monkey, hopping through the forest with alarming speed. It seemed to be hungry and on the hunt, but the hikers were completely unaware of the danger lurking behind them. As it closed in, the creature suddenly vanished behind a bush, leaving the group wondering what was coming next. And then, to their horror, the creature reappeared even more furious than before, charging straight at them and forcing them to flee for their lives. The hikers were left shaken and traumatized, their once-in-a-lifetime hiking experience turning into a nightmare. When you buy or move into a new property, you should make sure it's both physically and spiritually safe. In this next footage, you'll see a dog pushed into the pool by an unknown evil and ominous force that has been long hunting the property before this family moved in. No, that's not what happened. I was just teasing. This security cam footage is probably the most heroic thing you will see today. The two dogs you see in the footage were playing when one fell into the icy and almost frozen swimming pool. Hearing the splash from inside, the owner of the pups ran out and jumped into the pool with little to no regard for his own life or safety. She figured it out where the pup had fallen and did her best to bring him out. It was already unconscious when she brought it out. She quickly called the vet, who came over and did his best to keep the pup among the living. She had saved its life, something only superwomen can do. Now, when we saw this footage, our first question was, what is this? After watching a few more times, we still realized we didn't know what we were looking at. At first glance, the creature looks like a humanoid creature with short legs squirming in the hands of a man. That's at least until he turned it around and revealed that the creature was actually flatter and smaller than initially thought. At this point, it started looking like a sponge-like creature. But how is that even possible? Well, I don't know, but this creature was caught in one of the water bodies of China. Has anyone here encountered any creature like this? Do you know what it is? If you do, please enlighten us in the comments because we're dying to know. Literally. For our next Trailcam capture, we moved to the Amazon, where this weird and quite frankly scary picture of a beast was captured. Behold, the horned beast of Baja. If you're unfamiliar with this cryptid, don't worry, we were too. It's quite surprising to discover that such a creature resides in the Amazon. Never did it ever cross our minds to check if the Amazon had any cryptids living in there, but there are apparently a number of them, and the creature on your screens currently is all but one of these creatures. According to the person who uploaded this image online, it's the clearest photo of the mysterious horned beast. It was taken back in 2007 by an American teen exploring the area. The young boy believed he'd seen a demon carrying a baby, but all who knew the legends of the horned beast dispelled his fears and told him it was a dangerous cryptid that roamed the area, adding that he was lucky to have escaped with his life. Basically, not many meet the horned beast of Badya and come out of the experience alive. That makes this photo all the more rare. Do you believe in ghosts? If you answered no, this CCTV footage might change your mind. Did you see that? Do you have any other explanation for it? The owner of this CCTV footage was reviewing the recordings from the previous night when they stumbled upon this puzzling incident. It was unlike anything he'd ever seen before. Perplexed, he decided to upload it online in hopes of finding answers, and boy, did the online community have a lot to say. Everyone seemed to be convinced that what they were witnessing here were actual ghosts. The big question on everyone's mind was, what kind of ghosts were they, and why were they roaming the neighborhood at that specific time? Unfortunately, no one had concrete answers. It was all speculation and suspicion. Some even went as far as suggesting that what we saw were not ghosts at all, but Santa and his reindeer traveling through the neighborhood. And you know what? Once you see it from that perspective, you can't unsee it. It really does look like reindeer pulling a sleigh. The only strange thing is why two of the reindeer seem to collide with the fence and disintegrate into dust. While the paranormal community grappled with this enigma, there were skeptics in the scientific community who claimed that they weren't dealing with ghosts at all. Instead, they proposed a rather mundane explanation. Those figures were just regular humans running. Sounds absurd, right? That's what I thought too until I heard their reasoning. Apparently, the low-quality nature of the video can distort human figures and make them appear ghost-like. As for the two entities that seemingly turned to dust, they might have simply thrown their coats onto the fence, but due to the video's poor quality, it created the illusion of disintegration. I didn't want to accept it at first, but it does seem logical, doesn't it? Well, that's for you to decide. Here we have something sure to keep you scratching your head. Do you believe in aliens? Do you believe we're not alone in this universe? If you said no, I wouldn't blame you. I'd be scared of that thought too, thanks to movies such as The War of the Worlds. Notwithstanding our fears and skepticism, we can't ignore compelling evidence right before our eyes. This trail camera is set up deep in the woods to capture the local wildlife. However, the owner soon realized that the camera had captured something beyond their expectations. He noticed that there were lights in the sky just above a deer the Trailcam was capturing. The lights moved in erratic patterns before vanishing into the darkness. As a result, numerous questions have arisen, with one prevailing above all. Are the aliens already here? Would you go out of your house to take a good look at an animal that was roaming around your property late at night? Well, not me, but the one in the footage I'm about to show you did, and you wouldn't believe what happened. Have a look. In the footage, you see him looking around the property, but look as he would, he sees nothing and no one. After a few seconds, however, he hears movement in his house, looks through the window, and hears someone inside. He immediately rushes in, trying to find whatever was in the room. He went through the various rooms and saw nothing. How's that possible? Well, we don't know, but if I were him, I'd be extra careful on that property and watch my back at all times. Whilst the last capture left a lot of room for speculation due to its blurriness, this image is crystal clear and, quite frankly, more unsettling. Here we encounter another tree, but this one is considerably scarier than the previous one. This peculiar tree seems to have a face, and it's not a friendly one. At the top, you can't help but notice a pair of enormous holes resembling eyes. Right beneath that, there's something that eerily resembles a nose, and beneath that, a gaping void that can only be described as a wide-open, terrifying mouth. What's even more spine-chilling is the layer beneath the mouth, which eerily resembles teeth. This tree appears as if it's screaming in agony, frozen in a macabre moment of anguish. But before we jump to supernatural conclusions, it's important to consider a psychological phenomenon known as pareidolia. Humans tend to perceive familiar faces in unrelated objects, like spotting shapes in the clouds, so in all likelihood this is just a regular tree, albeit one that triggers our innate ability to find faces in the most unexpected places. Rest assured, this tree is not a creature of the night, it's just another intriguing facet of the mysterious natural world we share our planet with. Or is it? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. In this captivating video, a car is cruising through a dense forest when the driver spots an eerie figure standing by the road. At first glance, it appears to be a small animal, but upon closer inspection, it reveals itself to be a short, faceless humanoid figure, seemingly up to something sinister. Its creepy presence sends shivers down the driver's spine, and as the car approaches, the figure darts away into the woods. What was that figure, and what was it doing by the road? Was it a hoax, or was it something else entirely? The mystery of this encounter lingers in the mind, leaving a lasting impression of unease and intrigue. This video serves as a haunting reminder that there are still things in this world that we may never fully understand, and that the unknown can be both thrilling and terrifying. A man set up a trail camera in the woods to take note of the kinds of animals, especially predators, that roamed the area. After having the camera record for a while, he decides to pick it up and review the footage. He expected to see many things, but this was not one of them. If you take a look at this Trailcam footage, everything seems fine at first, but only after a few seconds. If we focus on the left side of the screen, an ominous figure suddenly appears and moves in a strange pattern, shifting from left to right and then back to left. Based on its appearance, an intelligent guess would suggest it could be a ghost. However, what would a ghost be doing in the middle of nowhere? Could it be a tormented spirit seeking peace? The sudden kneel is undeniably eerie. But how can we determine if the footage is authentic? How do we know it's not someone in a ghost costume trying to scare the owner of the Trailcam footage? That's one potential explanation. Another theory is that it could be an occult member performing rituals in the woods. That might explain the sudden kneel and rise, as this might just be a normal part of the occultic ritual. Whatever the case, we may never know what the real reason is, but what do you think? Next, we visit Argentina, where an interesting footage was captured. In this clip, we see a bright round ball with a trail of red light behind it. At first glance, it bears a striking resemblance to a meteor hurtling through the atmosphere. Is it one, though? If a meteor made it to our atmosphere, especially this close to civilization, it would have been on the nose, but nothing was recorded. Could it be aliens in a UFO? Could it be a secret government project going haywire? Or is it just an edited video? Well, we can't say based on the evidence available to us, but taking a good look at it, which do you think it is? Next, we return to Arizona, where this image was captured. At first glance, it looks like an ape in the bushes. A second and more careful look should reveal that although the creature has the fur for the look, it's no ape. When standing upright, the creature measures a towering 7 to 8 feet in height. Despite its fur, its body exhibits more human-like characteristics. This made all who saw it believe it was a Bigfoot, albeit a juvenile one given its size. Although it was big, adult Bigfoots are typically bigger, and individuals could say for certain that it was a Bigfoot because Bigfoot sightings are quite popular in that area. So what do you think? Is this the real deal, or could the whole thing simply be a hoax? Tell us in the comments section. Prepare to be amazed as the otter, a creature thought to be extinct in the Sasquatch Nature Reserve for over 60 years, has made a triumphant return. Caught on camera, this lithe and graceful animal with its sleek waterproof fur and webbed feet is clearly in its element, effortlessly gliding through the water. As we watch this footage, we're mesmerized by the otter's agile movements and in awe of its natural adaptation to the wetlands. And just when we think the show is over, the otter returns to face the camera, acknowledging its captivating audience with a heartwarming gaze. This incredible comeback is a testament to the resilience of nature and a reminder of the wonders of our world. Who knows what other magnificent creatures are waiting to be discovered in the Beisbosch? We can't wait to find out. Still on strange apparitions, take a look at this security cam footage. I'm sure you saw a cat, didn't you? Now take your time and watch it again. You do see the translucent being running on the right side of the screen, right? Yes, that's our point of interest. Unless that's Sue from the Fantastic Four, that was a ghost or some form of apparition. Before you argue that the camera quality is bad, you might want to remind yourself that we saw the cat run as well, but it was not translucent. That only leaves us with one question. What was that? Until we can be 100% sure, it's safe to say whomever recorded that footage might need a priest to help him rid himself of whatever apparition that was. Next, we have another beautiful yet mysterious picture right here. As you can see, it's an image of the forest in the dead of night with a glowing orb sitting on the root of a tree. Although glowing orbs represent all things supernatural, when I hear glowing orb and see beautiful images like these, I like to think of angels and maybe what heaven might be like if it's real. But do you think this is what this is? Some kind of glowing creature or a portal? Share your thoughts or experiences with us in the comments section. Take a look at this security cam footage. Now, study the black cat moving. What was that? The cat vanished into thin air. How is that even possible? Watch that again. No, that's not possible. Watch it again. It's simply mind-boggling. Could we be dealing with a supernatural being in the form of a cat, or is this video merely edited? The paranormal enthusiast in me wants to believe this is real. I mean, just take a look at the footage. It's too real to be edited. Many, however, believe that's the case, but if this video is indeed edited, it's flawlessly done. I personally don't want to believe that. I want to believe that there is something more sinister or supernatural occurring here, rather than just a camera trick. Black cats for centuries and across many cultures have been known to be very spiritual. Some see them as a sign of poverty, others of bad luck or even death. Despite this, the dog-furred felines are very popular with witches. They are the witches' favorite pets. So could it be that this cat was on its way to its master? Tell us what you think. In this video, a fox rested in its cozy den. Suddenly, an ear-piercing screech shattered the peace, and an owl landed on the fox's head. The fox was startled, but quickly regained its composure and stood up to face the feathered intruder. The two animals stood face to face in a tense standoff, each one sizing up the other, waiting for the right moment to make a move. The fox was on the defensive, its eyes fixed on the owl's sharp talons, while the owl watched the fox's every move with its all-seeing eyes. For 20 long minutes, the two adversaries faced off, their wills clashing in an intense battle of dominance. The fox's defensive stance was no match for the owl's ability to turn its head 360 degrees, keeping a watchful eye on its opponent at all times. As the standoff wore on, both animals realized that they were equally matched, and no clear winner emerged. Eventually, the tension dissipated and the animals parted ways, leaving the snow-covered landscape behind them. Moving from Bigfoot, we take a look at another mysterious creature of the night. This Trailcam, which recorded this footage, has been set up deep in the hearts of the woods to capture the wildlife that roam the area. Unbeknownst to the owner, the camera captured something unearthly and untamed. It was wild, yet not necessarily alive. Upon examining the footage, you'll notice an ethereal figure draped in white robes. However, the creature doesn't remain stationary. It eerily fades away into the night just as mysteriously as it appears. What was it? No one knows. But what do you make of it? Two of my favorite words I would never thought I'd see together, a river and a wolf. But here I am about to show you footage of a river wolf. If my intro had you thinking we were going to see a giant canine with webbed feet, etc., well, I apologize, but you have to agree the creature on your screen is quite the specimen. What you see on your screen is none other than the giant otter. Believe it or not, that creature is considered an apex predator in its region in the Amazon rainforest. It's capable of growing up to the length of 6 feet. It's a skilled hunter that's even capable of hunting down juvenile caimans. While smaller than alligators and crocodiles, caimans are no pushovers, and the fact that these creatures are capable of hunting them down makes them intriguing and dangerous at the same time. Have you ever encountered one of these creatures? Let us know in the comments section. The uploader of this next footage is believed to have caught and recorded a Bigfoot. The footage was taken on a mountain in Indonesia. Have a look. You can see a huge creature walking across the field under the waterfall. The creature appears to be furry and bipedal. Looking at the distance and the size, this creature must be really big for it to be seen so clearly in the woods. This ruled out any speculations of it being an ape. A part of me believes this is the real deal, but I doubt a random person would be walking through the woods in the mountains wearing a Bigfoot costume. The heat and dangers alone make it an unpleasant decision to make. But then again, humans are just full of surprises. You never know. Until a human is caught in those woods in a Bigfoot costume, I believe we have a Bigfoot sighting deep in the woods of the mountains in Indonesia. Amazing, isn't it? Take a close look at this Trailcam capture. Can you spot what's out of place? If you notice that the deer's neck doesn't look natural, you're absolutely right. It seems like the deer is howling, but as we all know, that's something exclusive to the canine family. In no universe is this behavior normal for a deer. What's even stranger is that this posture has been captured by multiple trail cams in that same area. So what could possibly be happening here? If you're familiar with the paranormal community, which I believe you are being on this channel, you might already be aware that they would have suspected something supernatural is at play. The most prominent theory suggests that a demon could be possessing the deer. Another stated that some otherworldly creature is attempting to mimic an animal from our realm. These possibilities are certainly intriguing. However, the scientific community quickly dismissed these speculations, stating that the deer was simply very sick and injured, with no paranormal elements involved. As it turns out, it was just an everyday deer. Wild biologists believe it had suffered from food impaction, which then became infected, ruptured, and drained. While it may be a normal deer, it certainly found itself in an abnormal situation. The pain it experienced made maintaining a normal neck posture impossible, and it struggled to drink or swallow. Our quest for the paranormal took an unexpected turn, leaving us feeling rather somber. Unfortunately, nobody knows if the deer survived or made a full recovery, but I'd like to think it did. This particular footage may be less sharp than the others we've shown you today, but please pay close attention. This is a 2011 footage from the dense woods of Oklahoma. A family had gone camping there and set up a camera to document their experience. 2 days after the trip, they were going over their footage and saw what you see on your screen currently. Direct your attention to the background, where you can observe a swift movement of a dark figure seemingly attempting to avoid detection. Despite the lack of clarity, those who analyzed the footage were firmly convinced that it depicted a Bigfoot. Considering Oklahoma's reputation as a Bigfoot sighting hotspot, the possibility seemed quite plausible. The only challenge was the Bigfoot seemed like it was human height. This made some people very skeptical. Now it's time for your input. Do you believe it's Bigfoot or something else entirely? This next footage was taken by a lady who spotted a strange woman standing in a lake at the New Jersey State Park. The woman was dressed in all white with dark flowing hair. The ladies who spotted this strange scene were not sure if the woman was a ghost or just some weird woman. The footage, however, reminds me of the earlier footage involving the group who saw the woman by the dried river who screamed at them. I don't know what it is with these strange women standing in water bodies, but tales like these have a way of echoing through the corridors of time. This brings to mind the legend of La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. A story steeped in tragedy hails from the rich tapestry of Mexican folklore. The chilling tale speaks of a Spanish woman who, in a fit of madness, drowned her children in the river. Since that fateful day, it's said her restless spirit haunts water bodies, perpetually searching for her lost offspring. This tale hailed from Mexico and has been passed on for centuries. Do you think this is La Llorona, or someone else entirely? Share your thoughts with me in the comments section. If you've made it this far and haven't hit the like button, subscribed, or even dropped a comment, you could do that before we go on. Thank you very much, because it means a lot. Coming back to the episode. Now, this is something I would not like to see when I retrieve my Trailcam. Trailcams have captured their fair share of peculiar things, but what was found on this occasion defies both words and description. This hideous being was captured on a Trailcam. The creature appears to possess a head and body uncannily reminiscent of the bark of a tree or maybe a hair. The picture's a little blurry, so it's hard to make out its facial features. However, there seems to be what looks like a nose and two hollows on the head that resemble eyes. This creature isn't a tree, especially when compared to the natural trees in the background. So what could it be? Do you think we're looking at a possessed tree come to life or something far worse? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. As a hiker trekked through the rugged wilderness of Canada, he had no idea what he was about to stumble upon. In the distance, he spotted a massive humanoid figure towering over the trees and watching him with an eerie curiosity. The hiker couldn't believe his eyes and quickly pulled out his camera to capture the encounter. The creature's sheer size was awe-inspiring, and he knew he'd stumbled upon something truly remarkable. The next day, the hiker returned to the same spot, eager to uncover the creature's true identity. But to his disappointment, there was no sign of it. The footage he'd captured had become a viral sensation, with people from all over the world speculating about the creature's origin. Some believe it to be Bigfoot, while others think it to be a Yeti. The mystery surrounding this enigmatic creature has sparked the imagination of many, leaving them wonder what other secrets the deep woods of Canada might hold. What do you think this creature could be? Is it a new species waiting to be discovered, or just a figment of our imagination? Nobody likes to feel like they're being followed. If you're a moose in the wild, it's the last thing you would want, especially at night, since it could only mean one thing: your life is in danger. Can animals always sense when they're being stalked, though? Apparently, that's not always the case. If you take a look at this Trailcam footage, you'll notice there's a moose standing right in front of the camera. As you keep watching, you see a pair of eyes appear from nowhere in the bushes behind the moose. The eyes quickly disappear, then reappear to the right, only to disappear and reappear once again. It was initially tempted to think a predator was stalking the moose, but what kind of predator moves that fast? None that I'm aware of. Could it be something more? Could an otherworldly creature have been stalking the moose and forced it to a halt where it stood? Could the creature have noticed the camera and concealed itself in the bushes? We can never say for sure, but I do think that it's a possibility. This footage was captured by a group of friends who'd gone out to have fun in the town. While returning, they made a spontaneous decision to embrace the wild and revel in nature's beauty. Against the backdrop of a dark road and a considerable distance from civilization, one of the friends daringly ventured ahead on foot. Meanwhile, the remaining group members stayed in the car, cautiously following behind. Their sense of alarm heightened when their friend abruptly returned, sprinting toward them. Their gazes fixated on an uncanny sight, a creature resembling an insect crawling eerily before them. Did you see it? What in the world is that? No one truly knows, and even the rest of the paranormal community is baffled. A part of me believes this might be a hoax, though. How are they conveniently filming before the friend runs towards them? Why would he be out in the dark without any light? The possible answers to those questions make me believe it's all fake, but what do you think? Next, we visit the wild for something rather, wild. A trail cam had been set up in the woods to capture interesting wildlife, but as you know, if it's on this channel, then it's definitely caught more than that. Have a look at the footage. The video starts off with what looks like a boar or pig-like creature walking toward the end of the frame. If it's not any of these creatures, feel free to tell in the comments section. But as the creature walks off frame, we see a weird-lying object come into frame. And here's the thing. After reviewing the video several times, no one actually knows what it is. Some thought it might be some flying nocturnal animal. Another thought it might be a leaf, whereas others thought it might be a bird. If you ask me, however, it doesn't look like any of these things. Instead, it looks like those egg crates we used to see while growing up. But perhaps it's an age thing for me. Either way, we're currently looking to you for answers. What do you think that is? Could it be one of those things they stated, or is this simply edited footage by someone seeking their 5 minutes of fame? Tell us what you think. Have you ever heard of a tree that can quench your thirst? Well, in a remote corner of Montenegro, there exists an ancient mulberry tree that has baffled people for over a century. This tree is no ordinary tree, it's a fountain tree. For more than 100 years, it's been showering water without any artificial installation or technique, and the people here consider it sacred. Finally, botanists have unraveled the mystery behind this phenomenon. They explained that the underground flooded water has created pressure, pushing water up the trunk through its cracks until it pours out of a hole a few feet above the ground. But wait, there's more. As if one fountain tree wasn't enough, another tree surprised lumberjacks by pouring out a stream of water. The team of woodcutters thought they were going to get a lock, but instead they received a pressure of muddy water coming out of a hole in its trunk. The fountain tree has become a sacred place for the people of Montenegro, and rightly so. It's a natural wonder that continues to baffle and amaze scientists and visitors alike. Who knows what other mysteries nature has in store for us? Will we ever discover more fountain trees like this? Have you ever felt like someone was watching you during a hike in the mountains? Well, a group of hikers experienced that exact feeling when they reached the peak of a mountain and stumbled upon a mysterious figure in the woods. As they admired the breathtaking views, one of the girls noticed an eerie presence lurking in the distance. The figure's humanoid form and unblinking eyes suggested it was preparing to attack. The group managed to capture the spine-chilling encounter on video, leaving viewers to wonder about the identity of this enigmatic creature. Was it a real cryptid or just a hoax? The details are unclear, but one thing's for sure. This haunting video will leave you questioning what lurks in the wilderness. This person was walking a path in the woods when he came across this apparition. It looks like a person in dark clothes from head to toe. The entity appears as a figure dressed entirely in dark clothing. The entity was spotted near an old abandoned castle. Such locations are known for really severe hauntings that lead to death or madness. It appears that the individual unknowingly ventured into dangerous territory, and the entity manifested to deliver a warning. But perhaps that's just me. What do you see? Do you believe haunted forests exist? Would you explore one if they really did exist? Well, before you answer, we have footage from a couple who actually went in search of a witch in a forest they'd heard and believed was haunted. Yeah, you heard that right. They actually went in search of a witch in a haunted forest. It started as a typical witch hunt until they came across something on the ground that sent shivers down their spines. If you carefully observe the footage, you'll notice a whitish object that defies explanation. It doesn't resemble any known creature and appears lifeless. As the witch-hunting couple approached the object, an eerie presence enveloped them, accompanied by strange noises. As if that wasn't creepy enough, the woman starts feeling as though someone is pulling and entangling her. They were all visibly shaken up at this point, but despite their evident fear, the adventurous duo bravely continue their quest. They end up in a different location with a chilling sight, an eerie ritual ground adorned with flickering candles. A strange man then emerges from the dark. The couple were clearly startled, but they muster the courage to ask him questions. He shows no interest in answering their questions and rushes to grab something from the ground. Without waiting to find out what it is, they make a smart move and start running away, only to be pursued by the man. It's clear that these guys entered a territory they were not supposed to. For a moment, I wondered if they survived, but then I remembered they were YouTubers who had uploaded the video themselves indicating their survival. But there are some of my team who think it could have all been made up for clout. What do you think? Hold onto your hats, folks, because we have an electrifying story for you. Two adrenaline junkie friends went on the hunt for snakes in the jungle, but what they found will send shivers down your spine. They stumbled upon a century-old palm tree, and when they cracked it open, a cobra popped out. But that was just the beginning of their wild adventure. Inside the trunk, they discovered a den of slithering serpents from young to old, packed tight in the darkness. With nothing but their bare hands and quick reflexes, the fearless friends managed to extract the venomous cobras, each one over 10 feet in length, dodging their deadly strikes. It was a heart-stopping moment, and they didn't give up until they had safely relocated the cobras. With so many cobras hiding in plain sight, one can't help but wonder what other secrets and dangers lie hidden in the natural world. Will you dare to uncover them? Talking about strange and unidentifiable creatures, what do you think that is? If you direct your attention to the right side of the screen between the small opening in the gate, you'll notice a peculiar face. However, the face does not appear normal or natural. It has an ancient and non-human quality. Remarkably, it exhibits human-like intelligence, promptly noticing the camera and swiftly averting its gaze and movement. We have yet to determine the true nature of this entity. Can you help? Do you have an idea what we could be dealing with? Kindly share in the comments section below. What do you think that creature is? It's hard to tell, isn't it? Despite living with their wildlife, the uploader of the footage is very unsure what this creature his security cam captured. He's leaning toward the possibility of it being a skunk, and I can understand why. But then again, the unconventional characteristics of the creature make him believe he could actually be dealing with something else. What do you think? This recording captures a vast expanse of land covered in tall grass where several individuals engage in a mysterious activity. 4 individuals, clad in white protective gear, are meticulously examining and working on a discovery. Meanwhile, 2 others, donned in lemon green protective attire, stand beside a stretcher, awaiting the actions of the first group. It's not known who exactly they are or what exactly they are doing, but one thing's certain. They discovered something new, and whatever it is, it's dangerous, necessitating the gear. Simultaneously, the individuals in white protective gear lift a creature from the ground, seemingly possessing a long fish-like tail, and place it on the stretcher. The other 2 ensure that the stretcher is positioned securely, preparing for the creature's transfer. The creature's identity remains obscure as the recorder's sole attempt to record this appears too far, even as the scientists step away from the stretcher. This raises the question: how perilous is it to have direct contact with this creature? What necessitates such elaborate protective gear in this remote location? Could it be an alien, a cryptid? Has a lab experiment gone wrong? Escapees from Area 51? The mind can't help but roam in a bid to find an answer to this enchanting enigma. But what do you guys think we're dealing with here? Tell us in the comments section. Have you ever wondered what the child of a Bigfoot might look like? Well, wonder no more. This intriguing photo was captured by a moto detection trail camera, revealing a large humanoid creature walking through the woods with its young. Now, think about it. Have you ever seen footage of an ape with its offspring, perhaps a gorilla or a chimpanzee? If you have, then you know that's not how they typically move. Normally, the baby would be on the parent's back, or even when they are not, they don't hold hands and walk upright on 2 feet. Based on this alone, I can't help but believe we are indeed dealing with a Bigfoot family here. And speaking of family, if you take a closer look at the image, you'll notice 2 other black spots further down from the main subjects we're initially focused on. If you didn't know any better, I'd say those are another set of Bigfoot. Could this be a nuclear family of Bigfoot moving together through the woods, or are they part of a larger community of Bigfoot that has successfully evaded discovery over the years? But here's a question that arises. Is this image even real? In this age of advanced AI, we can generate all sorts of things. That leaves me wondering, is this the real deal or a product of clever fabrication and manipulation to make us believe in Bigfoot? What do you think it is? Have you ever stumbled upon something that made you question your very existence? Well, that's exactly what happened to this curious bear in the heart of the jungle. As he was wandering through the wilderness, he suddenly came across a shiny object. Upon closer inspection, the bear realized he was staring at his own reflection in the mirror. At first, he seemed fascinated by the creature staring back at him, but soon things took a turn for the worse. The bear started to get agitated and confused, circling the mirror and trying to figure out what was going on. But when he realized that there was no enemy lurking in the shiny surface, the bear's confusion turned to frustration, and in a fit of anger, he lunged at the mirror, finally pulling it to the ground. One thing's for sure, this bear won't be forgetting his encounter with the mirror anytime soon. Let's take a break from the scary stuff. This strange sea creature was filmed from South Carolina. It looks like a fish with wings flapping in the water. Well, this is not any kind of unknown species. This is a type of sea slug that's mostly found in fresh water. Take a moment to appreciate the sheer elegance with which this sea slug glides through its underwater realm. It's a vivid reminder that the natural world is a treasure trove of wonders, where even the seemingly ordinary can reveal moments of extraordinary beauty. In the northern part of the Ukraine lies the Tetra River, a picturesque water body surrounded by lush green trees and scattered houses, as depicted in the video clip. Recently, reports have emerged of an unusual creature spotted in this river, sparking curiosity and intrigue among online communities. Witnesses have described it as resembling a reptile with a striking set of spiky teeth in its mouth. Fortunately, though, the footage you are watching serves as one of the first real glimpses of this mysterious creature's existence. The creature primarily appears to be gray in color, with a light yellow shade on its head area. Distinctive crack-like patterns on its skin further set it apart from other enigmatic creatures. This person recorded the video despite being clearly frightened, bravely attempting to interact with the creature by waving a fishing rod near it. During the initial attempt, the creature didn't react. However, undeterred, the recorder cautiously moves the fishing rod closer to the creature, which prompts the mysterious being to turn away and swiftly jump back into the water. This behavior leads to speculation that the creature could possibly be a mutated animal from the Chernobyl disaster. Some don't think so. They think it looks ordinary. The true identity of the creature, however, remains a mystery and has sparked a great deal of speculation and discussion online. Considering your expertise in identifying creatures, we hope one of you can help uncover its identity. Please don't disappoint. A hunter perches high up in a tree, scanning the area for his prey. His concentration is broken by the sudden appearance of a massive bear ambling through the woods towards him. The hunter, frozen with fear, watches in disbelief as the bear begins to climb up the tree toward him. The bear's paws grit the bark, and its eyes lock onto the hunter's. It's a tense moment that could end in disaster at any second. But then the hunter snaps into action, shouting at the bear and making himself look as big and intimidating as possible. With a loud roar, the bear gets spooked and scurries back down to the ground. Bigfoot doesn't seem to catch a break these days. Many are on a quest to prove its existence, setting up trail cameras in hopes of catching a glimpse of the elusive creature. While not many have been successful, it seems like the owner of this trail cam footage may have struck gold. Take a look at this footage and you'll see what appears to be an ape casually strolling through the woods, completely oblivious to being filmed. But upon closer inspection, you'll realize that this creature doesn't quite resemble any ordinary ape in appearance or movement. Could it possibly be a new species? Well, that's highly unlikely. Believe it or not, the idea of Bigfoot is more plausible than an entirely new species never seen before. Although the creature in the footage resembles an ape, it doesn't hunch over or move like typical apes, such as gorillas. Instead, its mannerisms and posture, while in motion, appear more human than ape-like. Now, think about it for a moment. Is there any creature you know of that looks like an ape but behaves like a human? Exactly, Bigfoot. But here's the question that lingers. Is this the real deal, or is it someone merely toying with the paranormal community? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Next up, we have this trail cam capture of, quite frankly, the most beautiful deer I have ever seen. But she's not the focus today. What if I told you that the image you see was captured at night, not during the day? I'm pretty sure that might shock you, since it looks like the image was taken during the daytime and has only been desaturated. However, according to the individuals who submitted the image, it was captured at night in the absence of any surrounding lights. Yet, inexplicably, a radiant orb appears in the image. If the testimony of the uploader is to be believed, then we know there's definitely something supernatural going on here. If you've followed this channel for long, then you should know that orbs are usually an indication of supernatural activity, and judging by the size of this one, there's got to be a lot of supernatural activity going on here. The challenge is, we don't know what kind of activity that will be. Could it be one of the fabled spirits of the forests? Could it be a being from another dimension making its way to ours? No one can really say for sure what created an orb this big. Of course, some theories propose that it might be an alien spaceship landing nearby, but honestly, we don't quite see it that way. But what do you think? Would you visit a forest known to have demonic artifacts? What about demonic dolls? Despite this forest's reputation for demons and demonic artifacts, this fearless YouTuber renowned for exploring paranormal locations decided to venture in without hesitation. In this footage, he visited the Demon Doll Road with a friend. The Demon Doll Road is a path decorated with creepy dolls and is said to be haunted. As the two guys were checking out the place, the guy freaks out and yells. He said he felt something blow the air into his ear. They searched around, but there was no one in sight. The team was visibly shaken after the incident. Who or what do you think was responsible? Though they survived the encounter, do you believe they were cursed or marked by a demonic entity? Or is the whole thing just a charade for content? Share your thoughts. Let's dive further into the Bigfoot mystery with this intriguing image. Could this possibly be one of the closest and clearest images we have of Bigfoot? At first glance, it's evident that this is no ordinary ape, as most apes don't stand and move in such a manner beyond the fur. There isn't much resemblance to other known ape species. However, upon closer examination, doubts about its authenticity start to arise. Could it be a person wearing an ape suit? That's certainly a possibility, especially considering the proportions of the creature's body, but what if the entire image itself is fake? It's a question we have to ask. Take a critical look. One notices a white lining around the image of the Bigfoot, particularly around the head and shoulders. Could this be a sign of editing, or is it simply a result of natural lighting conditions at the location where the picture was taken? As much as we yearn for this image to be an authentic depiction of Bigfoot, there are several red flags that cannot be ignored, and unfortunately we lack the means to verify its veracity. This leaves us in a state of conflict, contemplating whether the image is real or fabricated. We invite you to share your thoughts with us in the comments section. What's your take on this perplexing image? Do you believe it could be an actual photograph of Bigfoot, or do you suspect it's a cleverly staged hoax? Let us know your thoughts below. This Trailcam captures a monster that looks like it belongs in Hotel Transylvania. The creature looked stick-like and took long strides across the field like a zombie. However, the creature is so tall that the only parts visible are its legs. It also appears to have no arms. Weird. Despite the footage appearing remarkably realistic, the majority of viewers and even my team believe it could be edited. However, it's crucial not to dismiss the possibility that this creature might indeed exist. Perhaps it only looks like a bad case of CGI because it's from another realm. Who knows? But what do you think? This footage was taken by a YouTuber who went ghost hunting in an abandoned house. As expected of any abandoned dwelling, this house stands in a state of decrepitude, shrouded in an oppressive veil of dust and time. It was nighttime, and the house had no lights, so he used a flashlight and camera to scan through the house. Just as he meticulously scanned the surroundings, a figure emerged from the darkness, standing ominously at the upstairs doorway. Did you see that? Who or what was that? A person with long black hair and pointed ears like an elf. Despite being visibly spooked, the determined YouTuber musters the courage to ascend the stairs in pursuit of the enigmatic figure. The YouTuber chased after the strange person, but by the time he got there, the person had vanished into the darkness. I don't know about you, but that was scary. Have you ever imagined being rescued by an unexpected hero? That's exactly what happened to a man who was taking a leisurely swim in a river when a strong current pulled him downstream. Despite being a strong swimmer, he found himself struggling to stay afloat. But in a heartwarming turn of events, an elephant happened to be nearby and noticed the man's distress. With remarkable speed and precision, the gentle giant rushed to the man's aid, using its trunk to guide him to safety. Still on spooky things, let's take a look at this cam footage. Look closely and you should see it. There's a human-looking creature that seems to disappear as quickly as it appears, heading toward the camera. It moves briefly, vanishes, then reappears, and moves a little more. It's just reminiscent of a horror movie. Unsurprisingly, this footage startled viewers when it surfaced online. Nevertheless, skepticism grew among many after scrutinizing the footage multiple times. It does look like edited footage. Take a critical look at it and tell us what you think. Do you think it's a genuine dark creature of the night, or do you think it's a human playing pretend? We'd like to hear from you. In this video clip, a somewhat congested room is shown. A four-legged chair suddenly falls to the ground. What truly captures attention in the footage is a toddler sitting in the middle of the room, seemingly engaged in conversation with itself. Initially, it appears that the toddler is the sole presence in the room, but that assumption is quickly challenged when, without any visible cause, the toddler is pushed onto its back with its hands and legs raised high. It's perplexing because there doesn't seem to be anything or anyone in the frame that could have caused this fall. It was no ordinary fall either. The boy was pushed. It must have hurt, as we can hear the child's cries. This unusual occurrence raises questions. Could there be an unseen presence in the room, perhaps a ghost or an evil spirit? Is it possible that this mysterious force is acting out of jealousy? After all, why else would a toddler suddenly be pushed by something invisible to the naked human eye? This scenario is particularly intriguing because the mother believes it's the ghost of her two other deceased babies. You see, the baby in the footage was originally part of a set of 3, but the other 2 didn't make it. The mother believes that the other 2 could be attempting to murder the living one. Bizarre, right? But what do you think? Let's pivot back to something rather unsettling. This video comes from a guy who had an unusual encounter one night around 2 a.m. He was fast asleep when some strange sounds outside roused him from his slumber. Feeling a mix of curiosity and apprehension, he stumbled over to his window, parted the blinds, and what he saw defied explanation. ' Hovering above his car was a figure, a far cry from your everyday human. This mysterious being was draped in a dark, flowing robe with its hair hanging like a veil over its face and down its back. Not a scene from a children's story like Peter Pan, this was something altogether different. As fear and confusion coursed through him, the man instinctively recorded the encounter and shared it online, hoping to get some insights from the internet community. Predictably, opinions ran the gamut. Some folks were quick to label it a hoax, while others ventured into the realms of witches and supernatural entities. But here's the mystery. When you look closer, the reflection of this enigmatic presence can be seen in the car's rearview mirror. It's a hair-raising encounter that makes you question what might be lurking out there beyond your window late at night while you sleep.
The Tesla company has been doing well in coming up with a lot of innovative tech like robots and even their self-driving cars. Recently, however, a Tesla car owner was in a life-threatening situation. According to him, his driving car could not detect a train ahead, which almost led to a collision. This is where the skeptics against the whole self-driving car jumped out with the "I told you so" card. Perhaps this could be a sign that giving AI control is not the best, but it looks like we're still going on with plans. This will definitely be treated as an obstacle in the pursuit of greatness. At the time of filming the video, Tesla is yet to make an official statement concerning the situation. But what do you think? Is the push to an AI and tech-controlled future the right course, or should we slow down or stop it altogether? Share your thoughts. I'm not exactly sure what to make of this, but this certainly doesn't look right. You guys see a chicken with crab legs too, right? Could it be some sort of hybrid with spliced DNA or surgically altered limbs? At first glance, it's hard to be certain, but after seeing this clip on many paranormal pages and platforms, you start to notice a few things. For instance, there's a noticeable blur beneath the chicken that's definitely not normal. Aside from that, there's also some sort of lag or delay in its movements, which makes the clip look like it's been digitally manipulated or edited in a way. I was not the only one to notice this, as the subsequent pages where it was posted had individuals calling these inconsistencies out. Take these, for instance. While everyone was calling out the obvious, another user confirmed everyone's suspicions. This was indeed footage of a regular chicken that had been edited to create this hybrid, or as this user loved to call it, hybrid. Stepping away from the fact that this is obviously fake, would you love to see a creature that's somewhat the hybrid of a chicken and a crab, like what's on your screen? Let us know in the comments section.
We've had weird trees in today's episode, but this next one is my favorite, and once you see it, you'll understand. As you can see, this tree doesn't look grotesque, nor does it look scary. Instead, it looks like one of my favorite mythological creatures of all time, a dragon. And what's more, you can actually try to kiss it. But how could a tree take the shape of a dragon? And no, this isn't a case of pareidolia, at least not for me. What could account for this tree's strange growth formation? All other trees in the area look normal. What if, and this is a big what if, but what if an actual dragon was cursed and transformed into a tree? I know it's a big stretch, but after everything we've seen on this channel, would you consider that an impossibility? Think about it. Either way, that was the final clip in today's episode. Deep in the Indian jungle, an adventurous YouTuber and his crew embarked on a chilling expedition to explore an eerie, abandoned house. The building was dated to years ago, so the structure is very ruined and looks like a hotspot for haunting. The walls, covered in green fungus and mold, bore witness to years of neglect. Trees have even sprouted within the property. The structure was said to be owned by a family who were killed in the house, resulting in rumors of serious hauntings on the property. I'm guessing that's why this YouTube crew went to check it out. Initially, as they explored the house, nothing seemed amiss except for a lone stray cat resting by a window. However, within minutes, they spot a strange figure standing in one of the rooms. The discovery was spine-chilling, and naturally they tried to discern what exactly they were dealing with. The figure looked like a girl. It had long, black, flowing hair, yet she herself stood stiffly. Her demeanor and stance naturally spooked the team, and they ran out of the place. Now, I want this to be true, but a part of me questions the authenticity of the footage. What about you?
These men came across a hole in the tunnel, and one of them decided to throw something into the hole. What happened next was terrifying. Did you catch that? A large, dark creature began creeping out of the hole. In a panic, the men quickly used a large stone to cover the hole before the creature could fully crawl out. As you can see from the footage, it took significant effort for both men to keep the creature at bay. The strength and persistence they displayed indicated that whatever was down there was powerful and determined to get out. But what could that be? Some speculate that it might be an unknown subterranean creature, possibly a cryptid, or even something out of a horror movie. Others believe it could be a displaced animal, although its size and the men's struggles suggest otherwise. The mystery remains unsolved, but the footage leaves an unsettling impression of what might be lurking beneath the surface. Unless, of course, it's fake, but don't mind me, it's just the skepticism talking. What are your thoughts on this eerie encounter? Bizarre looking, right? It's got an otherworldly glow and feel to it, so much so that it's almost unreal and unbelievable. What you were seeing was allegedly recorded by someone on one of the paranormal platforms and sent to the admin of the page anonymously. He claims this is real and he'd seen and recorded it with his own eyes, but didn't want to come forward for fear of being targeted by the government and what have you. Once the admin of the page made this known to us, various comments and theories started to fly around. Some thought the possibility of it being real was slim, but not impossible. Others also thought it had to have been digitally created. As the debate raged on, someone pointed out that the object or supposed alien ship looked eerily similar to Atari's Asteroids game. Another mentioned Space Invaders. If you're young and don't really know what those names represent, they were popular games from the early days that you should definitely try. Now, could this have indeed been digitally created using those games as inspiration and building blocks, or were the creators of those games trying to communicate something that they'd seen to us in encrypted form by developing those games? Or is it really nothing more than a poor attempt to mislead us? Hard to say, but share your thoughts.
This human stone can be found in Ireland. The first time I saw it, I was told it was a real person who'd been turned to stone, and that made me feel sick to my stomach. I was wondering how much pain this person had gone through when their body was being mummified in the middle of the river. Was it some kind of medieval torture method? My fears were soon dispelled, and if I gave you an indication that this was real, I would want to dispel your fears as well. This is no sinister tale of agony. Instead, it's a testament to the enduring spirit of human endeavor. This eerie creation is in fact a sculpture, an artful representation of the relentless struggles and unwavering determination that drive individuals to conquer their ambitions. Interesting, huh? This footage was taken in a Catholic church where the congregation was having a service, but one person noticed something strange with the statue of Jesus on the cross. Initially, everything appears tranquil. The figure of Jesus remains in its customary pose, but then something unusual happens, something that challenges the boundaries of the ordinary. The statue's eyes begin to move. Did you catch it? A subtle, almost imperceptible shift in the statue's gaze. It's a moment that defies easy explanation, leaving those who witnessed it both curious and puzzled. For those present, this event blurred the line between the natural and the supernatural, stirring questions about just what happened. Was it a paranormal occurrence, or perhaps just a quirk of lighting and perspective?
Do you know what an obsidian blade is? No? Well, today is your lucky day. Take a look. This blade is known as an obsidian blade. It's the sharpest blade in the world, crafted from volcanic glass or lava. Believe it or not, their incredible sharpness far surpasses that of traditional steel scalpels. The edge of an obsidian blade can be just a few molecules thick, allowing it to cut with astonishing precision. Given these features, they're highly valued not only by archaeologists and historians for their historical significance, but also by modern surgeons for certain delicate surgical procedures. Imagine wielding a blade so sharp it can split cells without crushing them. That's the power of the obsidian blade. Isn't it interesting how this ancient technology, honed by civilization like the Aztecs and Mayans, continues to find relevance in today's world? What is that? It definitely doesn't look like any sort of creatures that we're used to seeing, right? So what are we dealing with here? Well, it's online because the people who posted it didn't know what it was either. This was recorded somewhere in China. The creature was spotted by one of the colleagues of the one filming. They initially thought it was a crocodile, but after considering the thought for a while, they realized that would have been virtually impossible given their location. Crocs don't exactly live there. When they got close enough to take a look, they realized that the creature could easily pass for a croc, eel, or maybe a long shot, a sea snake, depending on where you're standing, of course. The bizarre thing, however, was that the creature was none of these things, necessitating them to upload it in the hopes of getting answers. Now, I've seen it, and I must say, it is confusing. Unfortunately, Julius, our science whiz, has gone on one of those science expeditions for the greater good and is without cell service there. Basically, all I'm trying to say is, I don't know what this is, and I can't confirm if it's real or not. Can you?
In the next footage, you would not believe what a man captured deep in the woods. This man is reported to have heard a strange noise coming from the woods and decided to investigate. He set out with his camera and torchlight in the night to find out what was behind the strange noise. As he followed the enigmatic noises, his journey led him to a mysterious and foreboding fence adorned with a stern warning: no trespassing. Undeterred, he boldly crossed this threshold and moved closer to the source of the eerie sounds. What he witnessed sent shivers down his spine. A colossal figure lurking in the distance, a creature of gargantuan proportions that resembled the infamous Siren head. Fear and disbelief gripped him as he concealed himself, silently observing the behemoth as it drew nearer. Only when the creature had passed was he able to make his escape. Upon sharing his harrowing footage with the world via YouTube, a cacophony of reactions erupted. Some cried hoax, while others were left in awe and terror. But what are your thoughts on this perplexing encounter? We'd really love to hear them. Still on giant or tall creatures, take a look at this next footage. Although the uploader doesn't exactly tell us where he took the footage, based on the footage alone, we can tell that this was captured in some snowy mountain or probably during winter. At first, the footage appears to be a typical woodland scene, but within seconds, a massive, furry creature comes into view in the distance. Without warning, you might be tempted to think you're dealing with a gorilla due to its size. But do gorillas walk on all twos like the creature in the footage is doing? Well, definitely not. So what's the explanation for what we are seeing? There's no logical explanation for it. If we want to thoroughly explain the footage, we will have to step into the realm of the paranormal, and that's exactly what the paranormal community did. The community believed that we were actually looking at a potential footage of Bigfoot, and I'm leaning towards that explanation and possibility. I mean, can you name any other creature of such size and movement? Precisely, it's undoubtedly Bigfoot.
A couple in China recently went apartment hunting and found a surprisingly affordable option in a multi-story building. As they toured the available room, they were shocked to discover a huge gap between the bed and the windows, which extended down to the ground floor. It turned out that all the apartments in the building had the same gaping holes. This hazardous design poses a significant risk. If someone were to walk in their sleep or miss a step in the middle of the night, the consequences could be fatal. Despite the affordability of the apartment, the couple were understandably concerned about the safety implications. Would you consider living in such a place given the affordability, or is the safety risk too great? Encountering strange objects in the night sky can be both thrilling and perplexing. One such incident occurred when someone was driving near a forest one night and spotted the edge of a round-looking craft hovering above the trees. The full craft was not in view, though, just a little bit to give it that mysterious and otherworldly feel, if you know what I mean. What made this sighting even more intriguing were the lights on the craft, which changed colors intermittently. When the footage of this encounter was shared online, it sparked a flurry of debate. Some viewers speculated that the object could simply be a drone, while others leaned towards a more extraterrestrial explanation, suggesting it might be an unidentified flying object. Then there were some who thought it was fake. The last thing they expected from an alien ship was to have an RGB lighting system. But then again, we can't really dismiss anything till we have enough proof. Can we? Anyway, what's your take on this? Do you think it's just a drone, or could it possibly be something more mysterious like a UFO? You tell me. Now let's delve into a chilling encounter in Siberia, where a possible alien sighting has left many baffled. Have a look. As the camera rolls, we find ourselves in the icy wilderness of Siberia, where a lone explorer stumbles upon a mysterious creature frozen in the ice. Though we can't understand the explorer's words due to the unfamiliar dialect, it only adds to the intrigue and wonder. The creature bears an uncanny resemblance to the stereotypical image of an extraterrestrial being. Despite its otherworldly appearance, the creature is lifeless and remarkably well preserved within the ice. Determining how long it's been encased here is challenging, but ice-preserving qualities raise the possibility that it's been there for an extended period, hidden from our knowledge. But if this is genuinely an alien, it raises profound questions. How long have these beings been among us? What is their purpose? And should we be concerned about our safety? While skepticism may tempt some to label this as a hoax, it's crucial to consider recent disclosures in the USA regarding the existence of extraterrestrial life. It's a revelation that forces us to reevaluate our understanding of the universe and our place within it. Makes you rethink everything, doesn't it? All this man wanted to do was enjoy a good time with his girlfriend on his property in the countryside. Things initially went as expected, but they took a dark turn when he began hearing eerie and terrifying sounds. He ventured outside to investigate and noticed eerie eyes seemingly following him in the darkness. On one occasion, he spotted it on his roof, followed it from the ground, and ultimately discovered what appeared to be the carcass of another animal. First off, how did whatever that creature was drag it up there? Is it some vampire creature or a creature of the night? Some fancy it being a skinwalker, but that's something I just don't see. It reminds me of the dark creatures from the Netflix series Castlevania, only this isn't some series, this is real life. I can't see anyone saying no to the cool country breeze, the quiet life, the relaxed scenery, and all things associated with the countryside. But what about these creatures of the night that plague the place? Well, you decide. A woman was in the ICU late one night with her brother who had been in a serious accident. During a video call with her family who were checking on her brother's condition, she noticed something unusual. In the corner of the room near her brother's bedside, a dark figure appeared. It seemed to be looking down at him with what looked like wings on its back, and the entire figure was pitch black. She took a screenshot of the video call and zoomed in to get a better look at the image. The sight left her wondering, could this be a guardian angel watching over him? Or was it perhaps the angel of death? What do you think? And with that, we end today's episode. Thanks for staying with us. Before you go, are there clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us, and we will post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. Share this video with someone you love, and I will see you in the next one.